It's the Disneyland with Kids podcast, bringing you travel tips, park tidbits, and the best Southern California travel deals. Welcome, Disneyland friends. Summer is almost here, and nothing quite says summer like a day at the beach. Today we have a solo episode, so it's just me, and I'm going to break down my favorite beaches near Disneyland Resort for families and why you may want to choose to visit one. For those who don't know, I am Becca with this crazy adventure called life. All right, let's jump right in, friends. We are going to talk about my top 3 favorite beaches, but there are so many beaches in the area. There's like tons of little beaches around. So if you want even more options, be sure to check out the article in the description where I list 27 beaches that span about 5 areas that are close to Disneyland that you might want to visit. All right, so let's get right in. My favorite beach, I think, is Seal Beach. Seal Beach is about a 30 to 35 minute drive from the Disneyland Hotel. And I love this beach because it has reasonable parking rates compared to like Huntington Beach is a state park beach. And so the parking rates are fairly high. I think last time I was there, they were $20 for the day, but that does give you in and out privileges for the day as well, though. And so if you're only going to stay for an hour or two, I think Seal Beach is a great option. It's also much smaller. You are much closer to the water when you park, so you don't have to trek across near as much sand as you do at, say, Huntington Beach, which is huge. A couple of down things, the bathrooms there are very blah. Of course, most beach bathrooms are that way, but these ones even more so. It also does not have a lot of dining options right there on the beach. So you would have to go a little bit farther away across the major street to get anything to eat if you don't bring your own food. And finally, I rarely see lifeguards at this beach. So you will not have those so you will need to really, which you should do anyways, keep an eye on those kiddos around the water. But other than that, I love it because it's not often crowded. Like I said, it's smaller. You can see your vehicle from wherever you set up your base camp, I guess you'd say, for your beach day. Okay, so before we go to my second choice, I do want to talk about going to the beach. Now, if you're going to the beach from Disneyland, you are going to have a 20 to 30-minute drive, no matter what beach you choose. And beach days are normally something that people who have driven to Disneyland do where they have their own car, but you can Uber to the beach. And just remember, a lot of people worry that nobody's going to want to pick them up. If they're picking you up, they know you've been at the beach to bring you back, that is. And so they know there's the chance that you might have some sand on there. Of course, you should wipe off all the sand that you possibly can't and maybe have a clean, fresh towel that you offer to put down over the seat for them. Now, if you're renting a vehicle, I do suggest that you plan on stopping by a car wash or somewhere that offers a vacuum service so that you can vacuum out some sand, as well as making sure you're as wiped off from sand as possible. That way you won't get charged an extra cleaning fee when you turn that rental vehicle in. Okay, moving on to my second choice, and that is actually Huntington Beach. And I did mention how the parking was expensive, but a couple things that I really love about Huntington Beach. One, it's huge, like tons of room. You can definitely spread out. Even though it's a very popular beach, there's always parking usually, and there is usually a place where you can be away from other people. Now, as you get closer to the water, obviously people tend to want to be there, and so you're going to have a little bit less space, but it's so huge that you can definitely find an area to yourself. That is also kind of a downside that it's so huge because you do have to trek a very long way through the sand with your kiddos and any stuff you got to carry to get to the water. Another great thing, though, about Huntington Beach is it has tons of dining options and shops and like bike rentals and tons of things that you can do there within the beach environment. You don't have to go across the Pacific Coast Highway or another major street to get to those things. They are right there on the beach. So it's a really great option. Huntington Beach, though, like I said, the parking can be expensive, but it also does have a in and out privileges, as I mentioned. So to me, that's kind of nice. And it's a state park pass when you pay for parking. So if it's the same as Idaho, you would have to double check this, but I believe it means you can get into other state parks and other state park ran beaches with that parking ticket without having to pay. So if you're wanting to do a day where you beach hop, that's always a great option too. All right, so before we get into our third beach that I want to talk about, just a reminder that beach safety is important and also that there are some amazing items I have found for traveling when you plan to stay at the beach. So I have this huge like blanket towel thing that the sand just shakes off of it, and you comes with stakes so you can stake it down into the ground that we love to take. It's like 10 foot by 10 foot, so lots of room. We also have collapsible sand buckets. They're silicone and they collapse nice and flat. So they're really easy to pack and bring with you on your vacation and then take them home. So we love those. We bought those when we were going to Hawaii and we knew we'd be staying and driving and going to different beaches so that we'd have our own so that we wouldn't have to like only use the ones at our resort. And we've used them many times down in California now too because of it. And of course, if you have littles that will probably want to go in the water, I always suggest a life jacket. Huntington Beach and the next beach I am going to mention do tend to have a lot more lifeguards along the beach, but it is still important that you have your kids in a life jacket or they be extremely good swimmers, especially if there's any kind of wind that day and the waves are strong. So be responsible so that you have a great day at the beach and not a tragic one. Okay, the third beach. This one is kind of like I don't a lot of people are going to moan when they hear this one. I actually like Newport Beach. Now, Newport Beach, with the pier, at the Newport Pier, it can be extremely busy. It does host a lot of surfing competitions and things like that. So just be aware of that. But again, it has hourly parking. So if you're not going to stay all day, this is a great option. But there's also a lot of other stuff to do in the Newport Beach area and the Costa Mesa area that make it so you could just go down and spend a whole day in that area. You could do Fashion Mall. There's lots of dining and like things you expect to find in a coastal town in that area. It does tend to be a little bit gloomier there a lot of times I have found than at Huntington Beach. So they tend to get more of the marine fog, I find. Also, if you do go there, here's a little tip for you. Most people stay, if you're looking out to the water, most people stay on the right-hand side of the pier when they are setting themselves up. But if you go to the left-hand side of the pier, a lot of times you will be able to have more space to yourself. So all three of those beaches are great. There's a lot more that you could go to. Laguna Beach, everyone thinks it's a private beach. It is not. There's lots of little beaches area. Dana Cove has a lot of great beaches, including Baby Beach, which is like it's protected by a rock wall, and so there's like no waves. It's another great one. I've also heard it called Mother's Beach, so I don't remember which one I have it listed as in my article, but there are so many great beaches in the area. And of course, some other fun ocean activities is doing a whale watching or dolphin watching tour you can book. And you can book all of that through our partners at Getaway Today. You would just go to disneylandkids.info/book, and then you're going to go up to the menu and click on tickets, and then make sure you're in the Disneyland area. And they should have some for Captain Dave's, which I've gone on twice now. And it's a great one. They have these little pods you can go in underneath the boat where it's all glass around you, and the dolphins literally swim right next to you. But I definitely suggest if you need a break from the theme parks for a day, adding a beach day to your Disneyland vacation. And also, people ask, is it warm enough year round to go to the beach? The answer is kind of. And that's because you do get a lot of really warm days in December, like here and there, or even January, February in California. Just depends on the like what's going on with their crazy weather. And with that though, remember that the Pacific Ocean is extremely cold on the West Coast. And if you step in it, it's pretty darn cold. So you might just be going to the beach and not getting wet if the weather is not up there in the 80s or 90s. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this and that you found a new beach that you want to try out. And we will see you real soon.